Hello and welcome back to another edition of 15 Minutes With. I'm your host, Sam Dostler. On this edition, we are excited to be joined by Connecticut Golf Hall of Famer and five-time PGA Tour winner, Ken Green. Ken, thanks so much for taking a few minutes to join us.
I'm happy to be here, Sam. Hope everything's good.
All is good. We're getting ready for the season up here in Connecticut. With Ken, we could, of course, talk about a wide array of topics from throughout his career in golf. But today we are going to talk about his win at the 1985 Connecticut Open. It was the first of his two wins in the event. And what makes this victory so remarkable was that it came in the midst of his PGA Tour career. His victory came at New Haven Country Club, where the 88th Connecticut Open will be held this year from July 25th to July 27th. Ken, let's jump into the scenario for you. Before playing in the 85 Connecticut Open, you last played in the event as an amateur when you were 18 years old in 1976. You were in the middle of your pro career at the time. Why was 1985 the year you decided you were going to return?
Well, if I remember correctly, it was just I had a downtime on the tour, and I wasn't playing that well. So the more events you could play, I'm a firm believer that the only way you get out of a quote little slump is by playing. You know, you can practice all you want, but it's not the same as actual competition. And it was a perfect scenario, and it worked out great.
So in reading the Hartford Current archives, it looked like you failed to qualify for the PGA Championship that year, and you had to miss that event. Do you remember how close to the Connecticut Open you made the decision that you were going to play?
You know, I can't really remember. I just remember not having much on the schedule, because I believe after the PGA there was another event that was like an invitation. It might have been the one at Firestone, where it's basically winners only. That part I can't remember, and it worked out. Actually, a weird sidebar to this is a good friend of mine had qualified, and I don't know why, but Mark Calcavecchia was with me in town for the same reasons, I guess. And he ended up caddying for my friend, and another friend caddied for me. So that, you know, and then I obviously went on to win, and that's what I remember the most about it.
So Mark Calvecchio was a caddy at that same 1985 Connecticut Open?
Yeah, he caddied for a friend of mine who also had qualified. And then you know, I think it was 3 weeks later I went on to win my first event, the Buick Open. So, you know, it was a really good learning process, you know, because it doesn't matter whether it's the Connecticut Open or the Buick Open or the US Open or, you know, a club championship. Learning how to win is learning how to win. And, you know, coming down the stretch at New Haven, you know, everything went well for me, and you know, it just gives you that faith that you can do it when you are up there.
Yeah, and I was going to get into that, but you mentioned the Buick Open already. You won that in your return to the PGA Tour after winning the Connecticut Open. Did that victory at New Haven Country Club, it seems like it helped put you in the right mindset, maybe helped you find something in your game, give you that next level confidence that you needed to find that next gear on the PGA Tour?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it clearly did. I mean, obviously we'll never know. If I don't play the Connecticut Open, do I, quote, come back after that little mini break and win the Buick Open? You know, it's one of those things we'll never know, but I know it had to have helped me. I mean, it's too much of a coincidence that, you know, I won, and then all of a sudden, you know, whether it's just that little extra confidence or that little extra calm, you know, that's usually what goes wrong with a professional golfer. You know, lose a little confidence, and that inner self is not so quiet. You know, that little demon that everyone has upstairs that plays havoc with you when things are going haywire. And, you know, mine got much calmer, and it next thing you know, you're winning your first event, and it was a great stretch.
Yeah, it really sprungboard you into a pretty good stretch in your career. I think you won 5 times before the end of the 1989 season, played on the 1989 Ryder Cup team. So a lot of things fell into place for you following that Connecticut Open victory.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everything fell in really well, and it was a great time, a great 5-6 year run. Where, like you said, I won 5 times and I won 4 other events overseas, and it was a great stretch of golf, and it was again, who knows what did it all get started by that win? Who knows? We'll never know, but I know it didn't hurt.
We're talking with Ken Green. He won the 1985 Connecticut Open. He's in the Connecticut Golf Hall of Fame. He's won 5 times on the PGA Tour. Before we get into some of the details of the 85 Connecticut Open, do you think this is something you would see tour players doing today? If they have a break in their schedule, going back and playing in their home Open, or is this something that's more of the past?
I'm going to lean towards more of the past, because there's two aspects of it that you have to wonder. It's like some might ask the question, well, you're playing on tour, why would you come back and play on this? And then there's the other aspect that guys just don't care. And yeah, it's probably a combination of both. Some might like it, to be a state champion, so to speak. But I think especially with the money that's being won out there today, just look at last week. I think I just don't see how any guys that are going to play the tour today will go back and play a state Open.
Yeah, it seems like, I guess, could you maybe pinpoint that back to when the money got bigger, when Tiger Woods broke into the game, where it became less necessary, less needed? It could become even more of a full-time job than prior to that.
Well, yeah, I mean, when Tiger came, it was a perfect scenario of everything going right, because he came with all the fanfare and the media attention, and then the media rights contract was up, the TV contracts were coming up, and so that led to the first boom of purses increasing, and then it's just slowly accelerating, and now we're getting another boom, partially because of the Saudi Norman gig, that the tour has been holding off as long as they could, because it's an expensive project to get corporate world to sponsor. They've got to cough up probably 15 million, for 1 week of sponsorship, and if the purses are going to start going up another 4 or 5 million, it's got to come from somewhere.
We're chatting with Ken Green. Let's go back now to the 1985 Connecticut Open. We talked about how you were in the midst of your PGA Tour career, but had a break, and you decided that you were going to play in the Open. Do you remember what your expectations were heading into that tournament? What your mindset was?
I can't really say that I remember it. 85 was my first year that I had lost my sponsor, so I was on my own. So, I was obviously trying to keep things, low expense, so to speak. So I was probably, like I said, I was off for a couple of weeks. So I came back, and I must have seen it on the schedule. And then I was like, geez, maybe I should play in it, and it can't hurt, again, I had no idea whether I would win or how I would play, to be honest with you. I don't think anybody was necessarily afraid of me, because I hadn't played that well, so it's not like I was, a stud coming off the tour. I was still trying to get things, figured out. And it worked out great. I mean, part of me probably felt like I should at least be in contention. I would have been pretty upset if I wasn't, but winning's always a different animal. You just never know what's going to happen down the stretch.
Yeah, there was a quote in the Hartford Courant after you won. You said, "I would have felt awful if I didn't win. I was definitely more nervous here than I am playing on the tour, because I was supposed to win." Take me into your head, if you will. Why that mindset?
Well, I think probably because, that I was playing the tour, So I should be a little better than most everybody else is playing in it. So that sometimes is a hard feeling to let go of in terms of just play golf instead of worrying about, all right, you're here, you're supposed to win. Well, again, it's not like just because I'm supposed to win doesn't mean I'm gonna win. And why am I supposed to win? It's not like I've done anything. And prior to the first 7 months on tour, I had done nothing. So it was it's not like I scared anybody because they saw how I had been playing. So but again, it's that you're on tour, so you should beat everybody, but just because you're on tour doesn't mean you're playing well or you're doing well.
Right. Golf, you still got to hit the ball and get it in the hole quicker than everyone else.
Yeah, that's the truth. And, every year, X amount of guys lose their card. That's how it works. If you don't play well enough, you're down the road.
Well, let's talk about the tournament itself a little bit. Once it got started, what do you remember from the event? Just do you any shots that stand out? Any particular moments?
I've been trying to think back and recall it. And what I remember the most about the stretch and I'd be lying if I told you I remember the scores, but I know 11, 12, 13, and 14 were key. And I ended up, I believe that's where I started pulling ahead. 11's a beast of a hole, even in today's standards, because the kids have to lay up. So you still have to hit that long blind second shot. 12 is a great par 3. 13's a good hole because it's dead uphill with a nasty green. And then 14 is, well, then it was a reachable par 5. Today it's really a par 4, but so that's where I believe I started pulling away a few shots, and then you still have the last 4 holes to finish. But
yeah, you went into the final round with a 1-stroke lead, and you ended up pulling away and winning by 7 shots.
Okay. I thought I won comfortably, but I didn't want to say anything and find out I was dead wrong. But I do believe it was that stretch that did it, because I don't think I was way ahead of, and I can't remember who I was close to. I'm sorry, but I do remember those 4 holes being the key.
Yeah, it was a 36-hole final day after an 18-hole first round. Of course, made the cut, and then you said you had, quote, a sleepy first 18 on the final day, shot a 72, and then you exploded in the final round, 4 under, and finished 4 under.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's funny because my friend that played in it and my friend that caddied for me, we talk about it a lot because it was fun. And it's always it's a memory, it's a memory I'll always have, and it's a memory you don't lose. And I don't know how other players are. I remember every tournament that I've won. Not I'm not Tiger or Jack or something like that. Maybe they can't remember 50 some on or 80 some or whatever it is. But tournaments that I thought were good tournaments, I remember all of them, and they're good. I've still got somewhere on my wall the Connecticut Open, the 2 that I've won.
We're chatting with Ken Green, Connecticut Golf Hall of Famer, won the 1985 Connecticut Open, also won the event in 1992. Ken, before we let you go, you talk about how all your wins are important. You remember all of them. What does it mean to you, even though you had a successful PGA Tour career, what does it mean to you as someone from Connecticut to have won the Connecticut Open and be able to call yourself the state Open champion of your home state?
Well, to me, I mean, I know this sounds weird, but because I, quote, technically reside in the state of Florida, but that's mainly for tax reasons. I'm loyal to Connecticut. I mean, Danbury's been my town, and Ridgewood and Richter are my golf courses, and the Hartford Open, and GHO Travelers now, I guess, was the tournament I wanted the most, and that's because of Connecticut. And I'm loyal. I'm one of those guys that's very loyal to his homeland, so to speak. And Connecticut's my homeland. So to me, it means a lot, because 20 years from now, when I'm gone, my name will still be on that trophy. And occasionally somebody will start talking, oh yeah, Ken Green, I remember him. He was the whack job that won the Connecticut Open, played the tour, won tournaments, all that kind of stuff. And that's kind of neat.
He has been Ken Green, 5-time PGA Tour winner, also won the 1985 Connecticut Open at New Haven Country Club, where the 88th Connecticut Open will be held this year at the end of July. He's a Connecticut Golf Hall of Famer. Ken, thanks so much for taking a few minutes to join us on 15 Minutes With.
It's a pleasure, man.